And we're back. Direction Forward Memphis. Thank you for joining and participating. My name is Neil Lewis, and I've lived in Memphis here for 19 years. This platform is everything Memphis: culture, news, current news, politics, the state of the city for the most part. I've been doing this podcast now for about a month total. Overall, I feel like we're getting better as far as clearly outlining the direction of the platform. The biggest thing going forward is going to be getting participation on the part of viewers. But I want to make sure that this platform is as clean as possible, and there's a good tone. There's a positive tone because I feel like that there's definitely a path forward in the city of Memphis, and I mean it's just about executing it. It's just about us having our focus all in the same direction and being the louder voice rather than, I won't say detractors, but actions that detract from the perception of the city across the country, in the state, so on and so forth. We've taken a lot of hits in a lot of different areas as far as tourism dollars coming in, people scared to come to the city. And the major issue, from my point of view, boils down to public safety. Public safety is a big thing. If we can get that part under control, we can start rolling up a lot of the things, bringing businesses in, creating more jobs for citizens of Memphis. There's a lot of things that will end up happening if that public safety piece is shored up. The good thing is we have a mayor that's forward thinking. He's genuine about getting control of public safety in some of the areas of concerns that the majority of Memphians have on their minds on a daily basis. There's old communities all over the place here in Memphis. So we have older Memphians that plain and simple are scared, and they shouldn't be. They shouldn't have to be. I grew up in the hip hop era. I'm an '80s baby, and obviously in the '90s, I was in my adolescence and running around. And so I understand how a lot of my generation thinks, and even into today's generations that may be in their adolescence or still in their teens and transitioning into that 20 some odd year old age. I know how community can be affected by different influences. Certain things look good. So I just want to make sure that I recognize all those different things because I'm not here to detract from, the dynamics our community has. What I'm here is to do is to bring other voices in along with mine, talk about the things that are going on as far as what leads the news for the city of Memphis, and to know what the state is currently right now. Also, if we're going to find a destination that we want to arrive to, you have to have develop a solution or develop where you want to be before you'll actually get there. And the only way that we could develop where we want to be, I think everybody generally has an idea and understands what needs to happen. But the only way to develop exactly what the root causes or the issues are that exist here today, you have to know what's going on in the city, whether it be a good thing or a bad thing. So I'm going to keep on parroting the same exact thing and saying, in order to find your solution, you have to know what your problem is. But anyways, I don't want to make this, a mouthpiece. We'll keep it light also in a lot of different areas because I know that, in conversation, you have to make light of certain things also as well. But when we identify an issue, or identify something that we know needs to change, do our best to understand what that issue is and then develop a plan how to actually address it. It's all about the action, not about the complaint. You know what I mean? So I'd like this platform to be a part of finding solutions or highlighting solutions that are being put into place, implemented. We may not be in a position necessarily of being able to implement anything ourselves, immediately right now, but that doesn't mean down the line that's not the case. And on top of that, the voice will end up being heard, and ultimately, I want this platform to be a voice for people that make decisions on our behalf. Obviously, we go out to the polls, and we'll look at some of that today. Some of the candidates that are, kind of are running for office in this upcoming election. We'll meet some of them and see what they have to offer. If there's anything out there to be, highlighted. But I know that everybody here, this platform for everybody here, we have to be active in our community. And for anybody that's watching that's not in the city of Memphis, understand that it's work in progress. This is a great city. It's work in progress. We're working to get to where we want to be. So it's something for you to pick up also, energy for you to pick up also, stuff that you think you can implement inside your city, or conversations that you can have in your city, your community. If you're not from the Memphis area, but I am from here. I've seen a lot happen in the past 19 years. And you know what? I'm glad to have experienced every single thing, the good and the bad, whether it be outside of just myself, or it might be me, my situations. I haven't had just a smooth ride. It's been, peaks and valleys. And I think everybody pretty much experiences the same thing. So we'll be getting into a couple of stories today. Just overall, excuse me. We'll be getting into a couple of stories, and a few of them I want to take a look at because we had the city council meeting this past 23rd. So it was earlier this week now. Today's Friday, the 26th, by the way. There was a commenter, community note, that came up to the podium. I can't remember her name, and it doesn't make a difference. But she came up to the podium and spoke about the phishing scam that happened here in the city. And so, from my understanding, and this is just a brief overview of the little bit that I saw before she spoke on it. And I believe that this actually came out, let's see. So earlier this week, also end of last week, somewhere in that neighborhood, we have a story from WRAG3. She went to the podium, said she does not understand, because she understands that the council members are stewards of the Memphians' money that's been contributed through taxes, through the hard work that we've all done to be a part of this city. And some type of way, Memphis City was, and the council passed, they paid a construction company that wasn't real. It was a phishing scheme. And in the article, it says $773,000 was paid out to this company. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. All I can say is the vice chair of the council meeting, since Councilman J.B. Smiley wasn't there, he said that they don't have a clue either. And ultimately, I feel like that's unacceptable. I don't even know. How do you not have a clue of how you sent? So what's being done then, if that's the case? If there was a phishing scheme, what's being done to remediate that, to get that money back? Who's being sued? I hope somebody is. But I guess we'll find out more. So let's jump into this article and just see what has to be said. And then we'll look into it a little bit more, see what we can figure out. So WRAG3 released this article. And again, this was 5 days ago now. Let's see if it's still 9 days ago. So 2 weeks ago, almost a week and a half. And here we are. The city of Memphis lost $773,000 in a phishing scam in 2022 that was not disclosed until this year. So this happened 2 years ago, and they just disclosed it now. The scam allegedly took place in February 2022 when someone pretended to be Zellner Construction on an existing city contract where invoices were paid. A city spokesperson explained they changed the account details and wired $773,000 to an account that was indeed not Zellner. The total amount lost on February 19th, 2022 was $773,695.45, according to a city document. They were outside the window to retrieve funds when the mistake was realized. The city spokesperson said the financial loss apparently was never acknowledged during the former Mayor Jim Strickland's administration. The incident first came to public light when it was mentioned by City Councilman Chase Charles Carlise in a June 4th council meeting. City officials confirmed details to WREG Wednesday. My understanding is that we wired $800K to a vendor and a phishing scam last term. Never disclosed, Carlisle said at the time. This stuff has to stop. City Councilman Jeff Warren says this isn't a good reflection on any city leaders who were in office at that time. I think it was a blemish on all of us who were there when it occurred. But if you think about it, this is a crime. This is someone who intentionally deceived people, Warren said. City Councilwoman Jerry Green, who was not on the council in 2022, calls this incredibly alarming. I mean, we have to make sure we are taking care of the taxpayers' dollars. This is our number one job, is to be good stewards of their funds. To learn we've been taken advantage of in some way is very disturbing. A city official tells WREG the alleged scam happened when the city was operating under COVID-era policies that relaxed protocols and procedures for wire transactions. Since then, tougher pre-COVID policies have been put back in place. These scams are very sophisticated and ever-evolving, said Walter Person, financial officer under Mayor Paul Young's administration. After discovery of this incident in early 2022, we returned to our pre-COVID protocols, including verifying the proper notary indica, telephone verification of multiple data points for all wire transfers, and periodic phishing scams trainings sessions with our IT security team. We reached out to former Mayor Strickland for comment, but so far haven't heard back. I bet. We did hear from Zellner Construction. Jesse Zellner, the vice president of the company, said, we acknowledge that this incident did occur and the city was prudent in their response. Warren said he thinks the issue will come up at the next city council meeting and hopes Young's administration can shed some light on what they found. Wow. Okay, so WREG dug up some recent city contracts and found several purchases that could have been covered by the missing money. Among them, $710,000 maintenance of traffic signals, $700,000 tennis court improvements at the Fraser Tennis Court, $500,000 emergency purchase of ambulances, $403,000 ammunition for MPD, $395,000 purchase of 5.54 ballistic helmets and accessories. I don't even know what to think of that, what to make of that. That I don't even understand how does that even slip through the cracks? If this happened in February of 2022. So obviously it was caught, and they said it was caught after it was past the period of time that they could retrieve the funds. So I would imagine in wire transfers, it's probably, and you're dealing with bank accounts and banks, it's a couple of days before you can, I think when a wire transfer is done, it's completed, period, and there's no getting it back. Kind of like Cash App. When you send some money to somebody, you better make sure it is what they, what you expect it to be, or it is that person, because once it's gone, it's gone. So yeah, and so it was a couple of days later, or I would imagine all they gave us was past the point of being able to retrieve the funds. This is in 2022. So who was our council members in Memphis City Council members 2022? I don't know. It might not tell us who they were in 2022. Do we have it archived? Let's see if we have any archived. That's all current. That's all current. Well, and so this part really doesn't matter because honestly, it doesn't matter because if the council people are involved at all, other than they oversee all of these things, they're attached to it in some way. They may not directly oversee fiscal that does whatever payments need to be done. And I'm guessing if somebody had a phishing scam done on them, it would have been somebody in that type of department, in a financial department, whatever they name it for the city of Memphis, right? And the council members wouldn't really necessarily be a part of that because they're not looking at the details of accounts and are you making sure that you put it into this account and verifying numbers and all the rest of that stuff. They see the line item of Zellner Construction. It's an existing contract. There's a payment that needs to be made. I'm hoping. So boom, let's it needs to be paid, approved. But I'm wondering whether or not anybody actually answered for this. And I hope it was a phishing scheme. Because those types of things have the undertone of, and then you have your administration, outgoing administration, but it wouldn't make much sense for, the administration before to be involved in any type of way. Well, we're not doing conspiracy theories. There's all kinds of conspiracy theories that you could think up in that type of scenario. We won't do any conspiracy theories. What I will say is somebody has to answer for the mistake. So if someone actually answered for that mistake, whether or not we were still under pre-COVID protocols where things were laxed, I don't understand how that could be the case. I know we had a lot of money flowing in because of the federal grants and the money's coming in, ARPA and things of that nature. There's a lot of questions that need to be answered on this. A lot of questions. Let's see. Memphis City, fish. Let's just see what all they have to say. I'm just curious on this one. It's important. It's important to make sure that this never happens again. All right.
Developing tonight, the city of Memphis confirming taxpayers were scammed out of almost $800,000 due to a phishing scheme. Thanks for joining us. I'm Richard Ransom.
And I'm Pepper Baker. We've learned this happened during Mayor Jim Strickland's administration in 2022. ABC 24's Scott Mattis is here now on what we've learned about the scam, how it happened, and what it means for city taxpayers. Good evening, Scott.
Good evening, Pepper and Richard. Like you said, this all went down back in 2022, but it's only now coming to light. And after an investigation, well, they've discovered that the money cannot be recovered. Tonight, a bombshell. The city of Memphis was scammed out of $773,000 by what's commonly known as a phishing scam.
What bothers me is that there are people out there scamming away our tax money that we could be using for services.
Representatives from the city of Memphis tell me in February of 2022, the city made regular payments to a company called Zellner Construction for contract work. And they say, following a request from someone who they thought was a representative from Zellner, the city wired more than $773,000 to an account that was not Zellner. This, according to city documents I obtained.
They knew enough about our operations to realize they could bill for a contractor who normally bills in those amounts.
Jonathan Parker with PCS Managed Services in Collierville defends businesses from scams like this on a daily basis. He tells me recently there's been an uptick in phishing scams targeting unsuspecting victims, and that he's not surprised about the attack on the city of Memphis.
It sounds like somebody from Zellner's construction company either had their email hacked or somebody spoofed that address and used that to send a request to update bank information to the contacted city of Memphis.
Parker also adds, while he's not surprised at the cyber attack on the city, he says that transaction for nearly $774,000 never should have been transferred.
It's on the city of Memphis personnel to verify that they did want to make this change.
Mm-hmm. All right, a city representative tells me today that they were outside of that window that they would have had to have been in to actually get that money back before.
That's super crazy. And you know, the one weird thing about this to me is February 2022, February 19th to be specific, of 2022 was a Saturday. Okay, so February 2022, where were you at on February 2022? 2/19/2022. That's interesting. It doesn't make much sense to me. I don't know anything about their process. I didn't know. It's just funny that it's on a weekend. That's all. It's funny it's on a weekend. That's just, I don't know what to say about that. I mean, I wonder if any other cities were involved in that same type of thing. Or any other cities could say that they took an L on that, because yeah, no, it's not really. I just don't understand how we don't know anything about this. I don't understand how we can't. There should be a flood of information on this specific thing. I understand that it was only $773. I guess, you know, if you want to look at it a certain type of way. Look, I'm not going to say there's phishing scams there's phishing scams all the time going on. I really do not for the life of me understand how they can get a request to change an account number and there's no and they knew the processes. Obviously, they knew how to get in contact with the people that deal with this specific type of thing. They knew what to tell them to get this done. They gave them a real account number. And we're expected to believe that someone that works in finance and does this as a job just went along with it and said, oh, okay, yeah, let's do that. And then this amount of time passes. So February 2022, and we're in July, late July, almost August 2024. And it was found out in the middle of July. So 2 full years and then another 5 months, 2.5 years for the most part. And it's just brought to light. It was brought to light for a reason, the way that it was. Clearly outside of the previous administration, and once the new administration got in and was settled for the most part. Wow. I definitely want to see. Somebody needs to look into it and see what's going on and find out details and release those details. I think everybody needs to know. Yeah, because we just can't do business like that. That's what an old master sergeant used to say to me. I run a respectable business. You know what I mean? If you're working for the city of Memphis, that type of deal can't happen. That type of situation can't happen. Now, I will say, I mean, everybody's susceptible to this type of stuff, but you know, just questions need to be asked. Questions need to be asked. You know, it just seems like there's more to that story, a lot more to that story that can be told in 2.5 years after the fact. The fact that there's no information coming out behind it, that's amazing to me. So I'm glad that the lady did bring it back up in this previous council meeting. She didn't let that go. They made sure to quiet her and cut her off. That was the quickest 2 minutes I had ever seen. And if you want to take a look at it, you can look at the city council meeting that I uploaded yesterday, as a matter of fact. So it was just uploaded, but it was for July 23rd, and it's in part 2, and it's going to be toward the end. And as a matter of fact, we'll go to that real quick. I'll just show you exactly what I'm talking about. City council meeting, part 2. Sorry about the interruption there for a moment, but had to handle a couple of things. So we'll jump right back into this. Hold on one second. Let me get on. Memphis City Council meeting. All right. So
it sounds tough. Of that phishing scam was when I read in the Daily Memphis.
A scam that took
5% use of my arm
let's
because of
listen
just
to it real
police
quick.
negligence. And nobody said anything. I am crippled for life. Mr. Morris, thank you for your comments. Councilman Canali, you are welcome. Glenella Hicks.
Y'all should go back
Glenda.
and watch that one too if you can. Yeah, that was super crazy.
it's Glenda
Glenda.
Hicks,
Okay, I thought so,
609
that.
Gillies Road, 21st Century, Memphis, South Carolina.
Wow.
Why is it that Memphis is the one who always extends the olive branch? I want to give a special thanks to Councilwoman Walker, Councilwoman White, and Councilwoman Cooper Sutton for your comments regarding the issue that's before us as far as expanding the MLGW board. This board represents the citizens of Memphis. You all are stewards for the citizens and the funds that these citizens work hard for and, of course, put out in taxes. How did this body, and I know this is not the entire council because we have some new members who just took office, but when I heard about the scam that took place in February of 2022, wherein this body, this council, which acts as stewards for the citizens of Memphis, somehow allowed in excess of $773,000 to go to someone that was not Zellner Construction. Often Joe Kent has come before you all and talked about how lax policies are regarding budgeting items and making sure that the budget is on point, that you are presented with actual data here and now. And had one thing that sorely concerns me is the fact that at that time, the now president of Memphis Light Gas and Water was the CEO of the city of Memphis.
Thank you, Ms. Hicks.
That's an issue.
Thank you for your comments. On behalf of this body, the first time that I learned of that phishing scam was when I read it in the Daily Memphis article, much like you.
But that's a problem.
Okay,
This board,
so I'm
this
just-
council should have known. If checks and balances were in place like they should have been, that should have never happened. And the fact that we were in COVID or on the outskirts of COVID has absolutely nothing to do with proper procedure being in place to ensure that monies of the
Ms. Hicks.
citizens is protected.
Ms. Hicks, I agree with you. But what we don't know, we don't know. But
you should
your time has expired. Thank you, Joe Kent.
What does that mean? What we don't know, we don't know. How in the world? That's the craziest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. That's the response. What we don't know, we don't know. Nah, bro. Someone needs to find out. And then I'm not sure which of the councilmen that was speaking, but the fact that it happened 2.5 years ago. What we don't know, we don't know. Well, why aren't you asking the questions? Man, she put the entire case before them. She stated what she needed to say eloquently. I feel like she did it she did it the right way. She checked them. Super crazy. This will be followed back up on. There's no way in the world that that should slide through the cracks. And that'd be the response that the councilman gives to the public, because he didn't just say it to her, he said it to everybody. I found out about this when I read the Daily Memphian, like you. What we don't know, we don't know. Nah. Bad business. I'll find out who that councilman is, and then we can come behind it and see what's going on with it. Just good to know what's going on. All right.